Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to the second episode of how to create your Discord bot. In this episode we're gonna be going through how to create your command and event handler. What they do is pretty self-explanatory. They handle your events and commands in an organized manner to allow you to create as many commands as you want and as many events as you want. So first off, you will need to turn off your bot, and you do that by going to your terminal and pressing Ctrl C on your keyboard. After that is done, you download the new package that we need, which is going to be called fs. So you type npm install fs. Once you have done so, you go back to the first line of code in your index.js file and you type const fs equals to require fs. Basically, we're defining what fs is inside our index.js folder. Now to create our new collections, we type client dot commands for our commands collection. So client.commands equals to new Discord collection, and that will create a collection, and then below it we're gonna create the cooldowns collection. So client.cooldowns equals to a new Discord collection. Once that is done, we basically start with creating the events and the commands files. So you go to your folder and you create two additional files. The first one is going to be called commands, where you're going to put your categories inside of the commands, and then the events, where you're going to be putting your events inside. So you go to the events folder and you create two additional or how many you want. I'm going to create two, one for the client events and one for the guild events. And then you go to your commands and do the same thing. I'm going to create three categories. You can create as many as you want. The names doesn't matter, so you can name them as whatever you want. I'm going to be naming them fun, moderation, and utilities. Alright, so when that is done, you go back to your code and we will start with the event handler. So I will just comment out the event handler so we can have our index.js as clean as possible. So we'll start by defining where the files is. So basically const event folder equals to fs reader sync and /events. So we'll tell the boss that our events folder is directly outside of the index.js, and now under it we'll define what each folder is. So const folder of command folders, and then we'll open up a couple of parameters. Make sure to have it as folders, not folders. So we'll open up a new parameter and we'll type within it const event files equals to fs.readersync, and then with special quotes we'll put the /commands $$ and the parameters and then folders, and then we'll filter out the files to only let the bot read the files that end with .js. We do so, we escape out of it and go down one more line, and here we type for const file of event files. So for each file of the event files, we're gonna tell the boss where the event files are. So const event equals to require normal quotes, of course, ./events/ folders now. So $ and folders, and then / the file. So we're telling the bot the actual event is inside that file inside the folder. So if event.once, so if the event type is once, we'll execute it as a once event. So client.once, and then in here we'll pass on the event.name, and then we'll pass on the args, and then arrow function. And here we'll execute the events themselves with the args and the clients. So just like that, and then you go down to the line below it and you type else and open another parameter and copy and paste what we just typed in the line 16, and only change the once to on. Now we are completely done with the event handler, but now let's start with the command handler. So I'm gonna section it off as the command handler. So I'm just gonna comment it so we keep the code clean. It's gonna be the same process. So const command folders equals to fs reader sync the ./commands. So we'll tell the bots where the command folders are. So for const folder of command folders, the same process as the event handler is gonna be const make sure to use the right stuff. So for we'll const command files fs.reader sync, and then we'll put a special quote, so ./commands /$ and folder, and then we'll filter it out like we did with the event handler. So file arrow function file ends with .js. Then we go down and we type for const file of command files, so we're identifying where the actual files of the commands are. So for const file of command files, a second parameter, we type const commands require normal quotes ./commands the $, and the folder $, parameters, and the file. We escape out of it and we type the line under it, client.commands.set, and then we'll pass in the command.name, which is the command. Just like that. We're not done yet. I'm not gonna make this episode take 30-40 minutes, so I've written out the code for you. So we're gonna copy and paste it inside our index.js file, but I am still gonna explain it as fast as I possibly can. So the link for the repository is gonna be down in the description, so you click on that link and it will take you to this page in our episode 2 repository. So you will copy from the client down below to the end of it. Just copy this and paste it under the comment, and now we'll have to go through it. Alright, but before we do anything else, we need to clarify what our prefix for our bot is gonna be. So now we'll go to the config.json file, put a comma at the end of this line, and provide that the prefix that we're gonna be using. I'm gonna be using dot. You can use whatever you want. Once you have done so, you control S in config.json and you head back to the index.js file. Okay, so the first line is very simple. If the message doesn't start with the prefix, or if the message author is a bot, it will just ignore it, it will return it. And here we're defining the args and the command names and the commands, and down here at the line 42, if it's not a command, it will just ignore it. And down below it, we're identifying the command permissions. So if the message type is DM, so if somebody DM'd, is gonna ignore it, and if the author of the message doesn't have the permissions required to run the command, it will just ignore it. And here, if the message author doesn't provides the arguments needed for the command, it will send him what he needs to send back. And here we're identifying our cooldowns. So basically we're gonna have cooldowns for our commands to not let people just spam them out and clog up the bot. And here, if an error happens with the command, it will just send you an error has happened, and it will console log it, of course. And here we'll create our first event and we'll copy these lines over there and delete it from our index.js file, and then we'll go to the events folder under the clients. Because it's a client event, we'll create a new file and call it ready.js, and then we'll model.exports. I'm sure you have seen this from previous videos, with no arrow functions equals to, and you open up those parameters and we specify the name. So the name of the events is ready, and then under it, once is true. So once the client gets ready, it will execute the client itself. So clients, and then we'll open these parameters and just paste what we copied from the index.js file. Control S to save it, and now we have our first event listener with the event handler ready. Now we'll create a command. So we'll create a ping command under the utility category. So you call it ping.js, and then we model export like usual. Model export equals to, and then we open up the parameters. We set the name of the command to be ping, so that the command is ping. And now we'll set the aliases, so basically the other names, and we would set it with the special parameters, these ones, so we can have multiple. So latency, and I'm gonna make lag, so that's the names of it. And then we put a comma, go down, and here we will set the description, so it will basically replies with the bot's latency. Simple as that. And then we'll put another comma, and we'll specify the permission for the command. So only those with this permission can use it. I'm gonna set it as administrator, because you don't wanna the whole server just typing ping in chat. And then guide only true, so basically this command will only work inside a server. And then the cooldown is gonna be 5 seconds, so cooldown equals to 5 and comma. And now we'll execute the message. So we'll make an embed, so let ping equals to a new Discord message embed, and then it will directly require it from the discord.js, and then we'll set the title of it to be the name of the guide, so message.guide.name, and then we'll set the description to be the actual ping message. So with special quotes, with that my latency is basically, and then dollar and the same quotes again, dollar date.now, and then we'll catch the dates just like that, minus the message created timestamp. So it will take the date right now minus the date where the message got created, and it will send it, and there you will know the ms, that delay that happened. Just like that, we go down one more time and we set the color of it to be whatever, blue. We'll set it to blue, and then below it we'll send the message. So sorry, you have to remove the dot, so message dot reply, and we'll reply with the ping. Now if you want the command message to be deleted, you just type a message dot delete and then close out of it. It will basically delete the command message if you don't want to clog up the chat. So if you don't want to remove it, you can just remove that line of code. And now we'll save and restart our bot by typing note dot in our terminal. We'll get the console.log of the bot get ready, and now we'll test out the command, and here you see I typed dot ping in the chat and I got this message back from the bot. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next episode.